Packet lesson 5.3, day 1, hyperbolas. All right, well, this is the actual problem we did, the last problem in the pre-lesson, but, just for review purposes, let's try it again. So notice, this is my positive stuff, just keeping it real generic, which tells me a squared equals 9, b squared equals 16. And so I would have to take the square root of both sides because I'm getting ready to build the box. So there's not a whole lot of space here, but I'm going to throw it in here anyways. So I'm going to go 3 units along the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And again, I know the center is 0, 0 because there's no shift in the x or the y. So there's my center. So I move left 3, right 3. And now I'm going to move up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's my box. Now, what good does this box do? Well, now I draw my diagonals in here. Not perfect, but you get the idea. I should have went through the center. So now, because it starts with x like this, it's going to be one of these. And notice the vertex of the hyperbolas or parabolas are right on the box. So that tells me that it's going to be like this. It's going to follow my asymptote or my diagonals. Same thing here. And so now, what are the vertices? Well, the vertices are marked with the letter V. That's the vertice of each parabola. Remember, 2 parabolas makes a hyperbola if they're facing opposite directions. So it's talking about that point right here and that point right there. So it's plus or minus 3, 0. Now the foci, remember, parabolas have foci. They're in there. I called it the pistil. The good news is the distance is still considered letter C, and that's what we need to find using this formula right here. So with that being said, we got c squared equals a squared plus b squared, that's 16, which is, so c squared is 25. Take the square root, and I get 5. Now, which way do I go? Well, remember, here's one of my parabolas. So from the center, I'm going to go 5 units from the center this way. So that would take me to 5, 0. But I also need to go negative 5. So that'd be 3, 4, 5. So that'd be negative 5, 0. So what's your answer going to look like? It's going to be plus or minus 5, comma 0. Go on to this one. Different type of problem. Notice our positive stuff is under our y, which tells us it's going to be one of these. And I made a reference to Pac-Men. These don't look like Pac-Men, but they're going to eat the y-axis if the y stuff is positive. So that makes this my a squared. So a is 5. B squared is 21. And this is a little bit weird, but if I take the square root of both sides, I'm going to use powers of estimation. I know the square root of 25 is 5. I know the square root of 16 is 4. 21 is 5 away from 16. It's 4 away from 25. So I'm going to guess it to be approximately 4.6 or so. But I'm going to use this language to do my graphing, but I need to know kind of where the point's going to be to get somewhat accurate with my drawing. So a is 5 along my y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4.6 out the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's right about there. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's right about there. Build my box. And here it comes. You got to draw in your asymptotes. Make them longer than you want to. And then we need to, again, because it's y, it's going to look like this and this. So this would be my vertex. I'd go that way. This would be my vertex, and I'd go that way. I'm going to let the picture tell this story. So if that's my vertex, it'd be 0, 5. If that's my vertex, it'd be 0, -5. Now, foci, again, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So I just go back to this, 25 and 21 equals c squared, so c squared equals 46. This is where it gets a little weird. They just want you to know where it is, which means, is my foci going to be on the y-axis or is it going to be on the x-axis? Well, because the parabolas are going like this, I know it's going to be in here, and I know it's going to be in here somewhere. So that would be 0 plus or minus the square root of 46. If I wrote plus or minus the square root of 46 comma 0, that'd be wrong, because that would land me on the x-axis, and I don't want that. So there's my foci. Let's go to this guy. This says sketch the graph. Well, we practiced on these two, and I think even if it doesn't say sketch the graph, you should, because that's going to help you know where your foci are. But this one says just sketch the graph. It's like, okay, square root of 49 along the x is 7. I know this is 10, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come in 3. And then I'm going to go square root of 16 along the y. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Build my box. And there we go. Drawing the diagonal to the best of your ability. Make a decision. Is it going to open up to the right and left, or is it going to open up and down? Because this is my positive stuff, I know it's going to be one of these. So this would be my vertex. And there it is. Perfect? No. But it gets the job done. And it doesn't say find the foci, so we can move on to the next problem. So this time we're going to go 8 units up and down the y. So I know that's there and there, because this is 10 by 10. And then square root of 25 is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Build your box. Draw in your asymptotes, which are your diagonals. And then make a decision. Because it starts, my y stuff's positive, it's going to look like one of these. And so I know we're going this way. And there we've done it. Sketch some graphs. Okay? Now, they're going to make us go backwards. They're going to give us the drawing essentially and have us find the equation. We got to remember something. Maybe I'll write it down here. X squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1 is going to look like this. But if I flip it around, it's going to look like this. You got to have this kind of floating in your head when you dive into these problems. So it says the foci right away are 0 plus or minus 3. That's a big clue. So if this is if these are the foci, I know it's going to be one of these. So I can start going like this: y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. So really my job is to find a squared and b squared. Now I mentioned this in the pre-lesson, what the transverse axis is. The transverse axis is, I'll explain that to you. On this one, it's this and this. The whole thing is the transverse axis. But this is my A, this is my A. This is the conjugate axis. This is B, this is B. So whatever my vertices are on is considered my transverse axis. So for this one, it would be here and here, my transverse axis. So this takes you to the vertex. That's basically what's happening. So this is saying transverse axis length 4. The whole thing is length 4. That means A is 2, which means from the center you'd go up 2 and down 2. Now I want you to know something. If A is 2, I'm going to square it and put it right here, because I know it's going to look like this. And remember, they want the equation. They don't want the perfect drawing necessarily. We just got to get the drawing going. So what's my only job? Well, if the foci is 0 plus or minus 3, that's saying c is 3. And I'm going to use the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared to find b squared. So I'm going to square that, and it's a 4. I'm going to square that, it's a 9. Subtract 4 from both sides, and I get 5. And I don't need to take the square root of both sides because I need to put b squared in there, so that would be a 5. And I'm done. All right, let's go on to the last one. Foci plus or minus 5, comma 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, immediately, I know it's going to be one of these. So I can grab this, go x squared over a squared. I got to find it. Y squared over b squared. Got to find it. And look what this tells us. The transverse axis is length 6. That means a is 3. Which means I'd go 1, 2, 3, and it'd look like this. 1, 2, 3, it would look like this. But if a is 3, I know a squared needs to go here, so that'd be 9. And the foci is plus or minus 5, so that's saying c is 5. That's the distance from here to here. But I need the formula. C squared equals a squared plus b squared. A squared is 9. Well, I should have put 25 in there, but I'll get to that. So 25 is 9 plus b squared. Subtract 9. I get 16 equals b squared. And again, you're going to want to take the square root just because that's your habit, but don't, because we need b squared. That's the formula we're trying to follow. And you're done. There you go.